Warrior Captain Ibrahim Traore has slapped the faces of our corrupt African leaders with a truth so raw it burns. While Africa's so-called leaders drain our coffers, jetting from summit to summit, grovelling before world powers, this revolutionary stands tall, exposing their betrayal of our people. In a recent interview, Traore was asked why he shuns the endless travels that consume other African heads of state. His response, now a rallying cry across social media, slices through the hypocrisy of corrupt elites like a machete through colonial chains.
Since you became head of state, you have traveled very little. The only country in Africa you have visited is probably Russia, if I'm not mistaken. And we've seen your African counterparts in the United States with a sort of class photo with President Trump. And I'll share a comment from a friend of mine who said to me, Captain Traore would never have accepted that. Is that true?
Well, listen, I travel very little, as you mentioned. And I went to Russia twice for very specific purposes. And it's rare that I go to other partners and only for very specific objectives. Other than that, I don't plan to travel around the world like others do. Because for me, you have to stay focused and work for your country. President Trump himself said America first. It's America first. He works for the interests of Americans. And so I am working for the interests of the Burkinabe people. If I have no interest there, what would I go there for?
But Traore's fire burns brighter still. When questioned about the genocide in Palestine, he unveiled the manipulation of Africa's spineless elites.
Now, one of the major geopolitical issues today is, of course, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We see more and more countries taking a stand. We have seen Western European countries, to name them, say that they are going to recognize, and this is a strong signal, the Palestinian state. But as usual, Africa is almost silent. It is in a wait-and-see position. From Burkina, can you give a position that helps us understand a bit what Africa thinks about what we fear is happening today in the Gaza Strip?
I can't give you a position that shows what Africa thinks.
Some Africans or some African people.
Because many African leaders have a different way of seeing things. It's Africa's misfortune, if I may say so, we are not united. We don't see things the same way. Some are afraid, some are hesitant, some are there for the interests of other people. The West, there are people who grew up over there, did everything over there, and then they come and are made heads of state in Africa. So they're the ones who control all of that. And so Africa can't have its own opinion. But I know that deep down, no one would want to see what's happening over there happen in their own country. But unfortunately, if the African continent is facing such a situation, in Congo, what are we even doing for Congo?
With Democratic Republic of Congo.
How many millions of deaths has it been, and for how many years? We ourselves are at war. Have you seen any African countries even raise their voices for Burkina over the past 10 years? It's rare. It's rare. So Africans have this problem. On the other hand, when someone sees a problem in Europe, everyone is united. People quickly manage to find solutions. The United States is the same, but Africa has this problem. You see, we've been fighting for 10 years. You haven't heard anyone raise the voice of Burkina Faso at international institutions or anything like that, nor Mali, nor Niger. Our people are dying, it's not their problem. Congo is dying, it's not our problem. Last time I tried, in one of my speeches, to speak out about how many millions of deaths there have been. Suddenly, look at how they are tearing each other apart. There are already so many conflicts on our soil. We can't even make our own voices heard. So how are we going to speak up for others? So we Africans need to wake up. Can Burkina Faso
recognize the Palestinian state? Is Burkina Faso ready to recognize the Palestinian state? Why
not? It's a state. It's a state. Why wouldn't we recognize the Palestinian state? What's happening is very serious. I think the Palestinian state exists, it should exist. Otherwise this war will never end. Wherever things are divided, it will never end. While you think it's going to end, it starts up again even stronger. We're going to keep going like this. But I also think that a lot of the responsibility lies with the countries in that region, because it's their area, and people there should be able to lead the way in finding a solution to this conflict. And as for us, as we keep fighting here, the Burkinabe state, which must endure, that's what's most important. And we are fighting for our Burkinabe